Piece of shit! Piece of shit! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! You're fucking retarded! You're literally retarded! Look at yourself! Stop it! You're literally retarded!
Fuck ice! Fuck up my fist! You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! You better start clearing out! Let's start throwing guys in here! Hurry up!
Yeah, you're a fucking bottle.
Look at that.
That little fucking bottle.
Let them get alone. Let them alone. Clear out. Sit down, you bitch-ass motherfucker. Get out. Walk away. You're get killed.
I cannot stand those freaking rape whistles. Ladies and gentlemen, this is North Carolina over the weekend. And what you're seeing is CBP agents that are being followed around by a bunch of activists blowing these different rape whistles and everything at them. And you got to ask yourself, how? How do they know where all of these CBP agents are at? How do they know to, like, you know, converge on that area? Well, I took a look into that over this weekend. And what I found, honestly, shouldn't surprise anybody. I mean, nobody at all. Like, none of you guys should be shocked by what's about to come out on this podcast. Now, I'm going to start this off by saying I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything. I'm just simply reporting what's out there. And from the way it looks, it certainly looks as if the organization Act Blue, a 501c3 here in the United States of America, is actually moving money for people such as this. And yeah, I do believe it was actually this organization, Act Blue, that was providing funding to the organization that organizes things like this that you're currently seeing up on your screen. And I did bring the receipts for it, and we're going to go over that today. And all of this actually kind of started and got a little bit deep because I was looking at what was going on over there, and ended up coming across like a video, and that particular video ended up having a phone number. That phone number led me down a freaking rabbit hole. But that is exactly why we do what we do. So if you guys want to see how Act Blue is doing that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you make sure you're following and all that other stuff, because I have got a heck of a lot more coming out. Some stuff now because I need to make sure that I can confirm it. But it seems like I might actually have, oh yeah, you guys, we know there's a lot of money behind this stuff. We know there's a buttload of money behind it. And again, I think I actually have names finally that I can tie into all of this as we're going to continue to look and go into this. Now, after we get into the Act Blue stuff, I also want to let you guys know that there was like a violent riot over inside of Mexico because of the president's alleged ties to the cartels, and the people are tired of it. They want their government being ran by the cartels. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that ended up going on down there. I can't believe that within itself hasn't been reported on like mainstream media outlets either. Kind of freaking mind-numbing to me. So I'm going to get right back over here. So here, I want you guys to watch this short video. It's about 20 seconds long, and this is where we're going to start leading down this freaking rabbit hole.
They do not like that shit. She wants one. Oh, thank you. Yep, whistles. You're a reporter. Okay. Whistles. They hate them. Yeah, blow on that shit as loud as you fucking can, dude. They hate it. Fucking leaning on my whistle.
All right. So what do we got here? Well, we've got this little sheet of paper that says noise equals visibility, a simple tool for fast alerts, loud, recognizable, impossible to ignore. And they've got different codes, 1, 2, and, whatever, code red, just breathe. They're there. Short as ice is nearby, whatever. Anyways, really interesting thought here is this phone number that's down at the bottom, along with some of the other imagery and stuff like that's on this flyer. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over that rabbit hole and where it kind of led me to how we end up knowing that Act Blue is behind some of this crap. Now, just so you guys are aware that this stuff, it actually causes a lot of freaking problems. You actually had CBP agents that ended up getting injured over this last weekend, just FYI. And it's kind of a problem. Yeah, and when we start talking about how big this illegal alien operation is over inside of the United States of America, I saw in North Carolina and Charlotte alone, I think the number was like over 100 to 150,000 illegal aliens that they believe to be living inside of Charlotte. And so there is a lot of money that's being pumped into that. And you would ask yourself, why is it? Because you might want a possible, motive. Why is it that Act Blue would be supplying this type of money to go in there? So I would have to say that, well, if you have illegals that have social security numbers and are capable of voting, then that's a pretty good reason for them to be turning over like this and trying to keep those illegals in power, right? I think so.
He's brilliant. He's going to be working to make sure that individuals who got social security numbers in this country should be using them for the right things, and they shouldn't be on our benefit programs. You know, we have over 6,000 individuals that have been identified through their work already that have been on the terrorist watch list, that they are known criminals.
How does that happen, Madam Secretary? How does that happen?
It happens when you put a train wreck like Joe Biden in the White House, and it's going to be a lot of work to clean it up. But just in the last 4.5 years, we've had over 9 million people get Social Security numbers that are not U.S. citizens. So they may be people who have some sort of legal status, but a lot of them are illegals that were given a Social Security number in just the last 4.5 years.
And there it is. Over 9 million people inside of the United States of America receive Social Security numbers underneath Joe Biden. They're probably registering to vote. In some states, you don't even need that going on, but in other ones, you likely do. And so this, to me, is probably the main reason behind everything. I'm going to open up this link for you guys. All right. This is the Carolina Migrant Network. I want to actually take this. I want to drop it down if you guys want. You can go over and you can check out their WhatsApp channel, because I'm not going to be opening up the WhatsApp channel as we go through this, because I personally, don't want to be putting that information up on the screen, but I'm going to go ahead and copy it anyways. Oh, come on. Give me that link so I can share it with the chat. Thank you. So if you guys want the link address, actually, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the one to the link tree, because that's got everything on it. So I'll copy that and drop that into the chat for you guys so that you can go along with this. Yeah, here's your link tree. And for you guys, if you think that I'm lying or anything of that nature, here's the link tree. Oh man, it's too long. The link tree address is too long. Son of a gun. No, it won't let me share it in the chat. Oh, that sucks. Well, we'll just have to go over it then. I'll tell you what I will do, though. I'll tell you exactly where you guys can go get that link tree information, which is going to be right here, because I want you guys to be able to follow along with this. Here you go. Here's a post I wrote today, and this post actually has the link tree address that's on it. So if you guys go over this post, you'll be able to, and it just dropped it down in the chat right there. You guys will be able to take that and run up over to this address, and you guys will be able to follow along with me. Now, they do have a WhatsApp channel, like I said, where they're like quite literally doxing everybody. But this is from the Carolina Migrant Network, who we can go over and we can learn about, because they have it over here. Now, the Carolina Migrant Network claims that it is basically, how do you want to say, a legal services for individuals in removal procedures. So that's good. So they're a company that provides, legal service for people who have been accused of being illegal immigrants. But this is the important part. Donate to the Carolina Migrant Network. And there's a reason why I bring this up. Because when you open that up, it actually has this right here. The Carolina Migrant Network fuses legal services and community advocacy to provide holistic support for our clients and their families. The core mission is to provide legal services for individuals in removal proceedings. We provide legal education to the U.S. migrant system, blah, 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 as you go through it. And then I noticed right here at checkout, have an Act Blue account. And when you go down and you read about your charitable donations on this site, you will see charitable donations made through this form are received and processed by Act Blue Charities, Inc., a 501c3 tax-exempt organization formed to democratize charitable giving and are subject to Act Blue's terms of service. So there you go. Act Blue is processing the payments for these people in order to do what they do. Now, you guys remember that flyer that I pointed to just a little bit ago. Now, when we click on WhatsApp channel, it's not actually going to open it up. But what it does do is take you to Colectiva en la Lucha. All right. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but this is what you're going to see right here. This phone number right here. 704-740-7737. This is the phone number that they want you to call in order to dox ICE locations. And in fact, if you click on that link right there and you go up over to their channel, it will show you the locations newly reported of the ICE agents and CBP agents over inside of North Carolina. That's not a joke. I actually took a screen grab from just this morning, and you can see 11:17 at 8:29 a.m. Our team has verified the presence of ICE/CBP, Wendover, and Latrobe, and it's got the location of them that was thrown out just this morning, a couple hours ago. So these people are actively doing it. But the interesting part is that phone number is the same exact one that I just showed you. Where did it go? Right back here in this video. 704-740-7737. So you want to know who these individuals are that are behind it? I just showed you. Here we have these rape whistle kits that are being handed out to dox ICE agents, 704-740-7737. And then here you go up over to their WhatsApp channel. You can see the same number posted again, 704-740-7737 for Comunidad Colectiva. And again, their link tree, which clearly shows their WhatsApp channel, how you can donate, which when you click on to donate, guess who it is that's laundering the money for them? That would be Act Blue. Right there on your freaking screen, Act Blue. And I don't even know, did I just not have all of that crap up as I was doing that? Man, it's Monday, isn't it? All right, there's your phone number for their WhatsApp channel. So your link tree to the WhatsApp channel, there's your phone number to their WhatsApp channel. And again, here is their handout flyers that show 704-740-7737 to report the ICE activity with the rape whistles and everything else. We go back over to their silly little page that they have for their link tree that takes us over to the donate, and we have Act Blue saying that the donations are being processed and going through Act Blue. So you want to know who's funding it and who's behind it? Well, they're the people at least that are collecting the money and going into it. So it certainly seems as if Act Blue is behind everything. Jay the Stray says they're all over Pine Bluff and Fayetteville and really anywhere around Fort Bragg. It was wild watching landscape crews drive through Fort Bragg. And, oh, Jesus, to get Fayetteville when I went to visit family. Wow, dude. Yeah, I mean, I remember Vietnam having quite a few people that didn't appear to speak English, so it doesn't surprise me they're over there. And it's around a major military installation. Like, you can't have that many illegal aliens running around Fort Bragg. That is a major security concern. Fox McCloud says, reminder to bring your Peltor volume on duty. Yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, just to have all those freaking rape whistles blowing in your face. So that, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to know who's behind it and you want the paper trail to see where it's going, it's right there. Now, again, I told you that I am still further investigating this and digging a little bit deeper, but it would certainly seem as if Act Blue is at least providing some of the funding and stuff behind everybody. Charitable donations made through this form, received and processed via Act Blue. You can see right there, have Act Blue Express account, sign in here to give faster. And there you've got their link tree that provides all of the freaking information, including the doxing of agents, which I ended up dropping just this morning. It's pretty freaking sad. How does it all tie in together? It's all tying in together via this phone number, 704-740-7737. That's going into their WhatsApp channel. That's reporting their locations right here. And you can see the different flyers and stuff. Like, this isn't a little organization. This is like a lot of money being pumped into it. I was hearing numbers in like the thousands of dollars worth of those rape whistles that just ended up going out. And again, here is them just this morning actively doxing those agents. So let's go ahead and call that number and see what we end up getting. Where's my phone? We got to put this sucker on speaker so that when we make this phone call, you guys can hear it, because we're going to see what they say when we call that phone number. I'm just curious if they would even admit to funding receiving it. 704-740-7737. Hold on. There's actually a name of somebody I want to see.
Comunidad Colectiva.
Hey, good morning. Do you speak English?
Yes, I do.
Hey, I was wondering, is this a phone number for Mr. or Mrs. Gaddis?
No.
Really? What did I end up calling?
We're a nonprofit organization. Hi, sorry.
Oh, what nonprofit? I love nonprofits. Oh, weird. They wanted to turn that off. Well, now they're claiming to be a nonprofit organization. Uh-oh. I think I might have ticked somebody off. I think I might have done something. They wanted to hang up rather quick when I asked for a specific name. That's not good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's kind of weird. They just ended up running away that fast, don't you think? Yeah. But they did say they were a nonprofit organization. So now let's call back and see what they have as far as their nonprofit status. Let's try that again.
You are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please try your
Uh-oh.
call later.
Apparently they blocked me. That's not good. That's not good at all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Their phone number is on the screen. You guys, if you can, figure out what nonprofit that these people claim that they work for, because I would really like to know. There's the phone number. You guys, if you're able to call and get that nonprofit, and you can hear what nonprofit organization they claim to work for, by all means, please, like, drop it down there and let me know. I don't know why it's not giving it to me. It's kind of ticking me off. I most certainly want to know what nonprofit they work for. So it's kind of frustrating. I hate it when they do that crap. Why wouldn't they let me know? That's so freaking irritating. Let's try one more time, shall we? Let's try one more time. Let's see if I can get them.
I'm sorry, the person you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Oh no, they just straight blocked me. Oh, they just straight blocked me. Set your phone to no caller ID, Matt. How do I do that? Maybe we ought to do that real quick before we end up giving them a call, shall we? Let's do that. Let me go over to the good old Google box. Oh, well, that's easy. Let's give him another call.
Voicemail box that has not been.
Oh no, I don't know if you guys are just like crushing that phone line right now, but maybe I just can't get through because so many of you guys are on there. I ended up blocking my phone number and it's giving me the same response. I feel like just having this phone number up on the screen you guys are calling. Let me know, man, if you guys are able to get it. I did. I ended up blocking my number out and still not letting me get through. Probably 50 people trying to call. Yeah, no kidding. You guys let me know if you're able to get through. If you guys get through, get me some nonprofit information. They're claiming that they're a nonprofit organization. If they are, in fact, a nonprofit organization, then you got to ask yourself the question. If you're a nonprofit organization and that's your number that you're sending out there, then why, oh, why is the nonprofit Act Blue actually behind them? I did, Cowboy. I did 6-7 in order to get everything blocked. But that would be the nonprofit, ladies and gentlemen. It's not letting me get through either. Matt, get a Google Voice number. Yeah, I mean, there's a million different other ways that we can try blocking our numbers, but they're definitely not letting me call through. Yeah, so, I mean, I've got, again, more information, particularly a name that is associated with this account and, how do I want to say, a name that's associated with this phone number for who it looks like this phone number belongs to. And then I also have, in addition to that, it looks like some tax paperwork from Act Blue that might have a similar name. Pretty freaking crazy. Like, I don't know what morons set this thing up, but if that's the case, yeah. And if you guys are Spanish speakers, by all means, go ahead and give them a call and see if you can get through there. But they're not very happy about it being doxxed within themselves, I'm assuming. And I wouldn't be surprised if they end up trying to come up and set up like a brand new different number. So screw those people. They're freaking major piles of garbage. They're doxing ICE officers, and it is a problem and it should be a crime. Just wanted to put this out there. This post ended up coming out from DHS. All right. Homeland Security. Law enforcement officer injured during enforcement operation this afternoon in Charlotte, which again is where all of this crap is coming out from. A United States citizen weaponized his vehicle driving a large van at law enforcement while they were conducting an operation. He immediately fled the scene, starting a high-speed, dangerous chase through a densely populated area. During the chase, he attempted to ram into a law enforcement vehicles, posing a serious public safety threat. As agents were boxing him in, the driver proceeded to ram law enforcement vehicles in an attempt to escape. When the driver was arrested, a firearm was located inside the vehicle. One law enforcement officer was injured. So in my opinion, these doxings that they're doing, they're injuring law enforcement officers.
They chasing the Amigo.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Get him!
Now, the suspect that ended up fleeing from that scene was later captured, believe it or not. Did I skip right over it? He ended up getting captured in a video. Oh, come on now. Don't do this to me. Stop. That suspect actually did, in fact, end up getting captured by DHS a little bit ago. Some lady got very, very butthurt and ended up posting a video complaining about it.
They got him, 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 they got him. Oh my God, this is not okay. This ain't okay, dude. This is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. All he's doing is trying to work. They got him.
Yep. So thank God we ended up having this person go down. But like I said, driver of this vehicle ended up, injuring a federal law enforcement officer. And it would seem that all of these people that are going over there are the ones that's getting it. This is excellent. Go ICE. Yes, this is. Yeah, this is the big deal. You're not okay. Yeah, no, they're not okay. Again, if you guys can get through to them and get them to give the name of the alleged nonprofit that they're claiming over the phone, I would love to hear that. Because if they did have a nonprofit organization, I don't know why Act Blue would have to process their funds. That just doesn't make sense to me. So we need to figure out the name of that nonprofit that they're trying to claim. Trying to look them up by ChatGPT. Yeah, figure it out. If you guys are able to figure out that line, you guys let me know. But for a fact, like it's not even a question that organization that is freaking sending that money, like that's putting that through, is 1,000%. Has Act Blue money that's going into it. Now, Act Blue, like nonprofit organizations, they can collect money on behalf of other nonprofits and then kick it out that way. I've seen that done. And that ends up getting done when you have nonprofits that are basically stood up overnight, don't have the time to get bank accounts and all that other stuff. A nonprofit can actually receive money and then cut checks and send them out that way. But either way, you have Act Blue that's associating itself with an organization that is doxing federal agents and their locations, which is very likely causing injuries. Act Blue will be blood red if they hurt a CBP or ICE agent. Well, this is a huge issue, right? Like how do we have this going on in our country? Speak the truth. I got through. They are claiming they are the nonprofit Immigration Collectiva or something like that. Okay, perfect. Well, if we've got Immigration Collectiva, that's what they're claiming. That's beautiful because, again, Immigration Collectiva is the name. As we go over here, here you go. Carolina Migrant Network is what they're calling themselves. Carolina Migrant Network. And then you go to their WhatsApp channel. And again, their WhatsApp channel is what advertises that phone number and is doxing ICE agents on their WhatsApp channel. I mean, that's it. Here you got Comunidad Colectiva, alleged nonprofit, which we'll look up here in just a minute. As a matter of fact, I can do that right now. So why not? If that's who they're claiming and they're a nonprofit organization, well, we'll just go ahead and check that out, because if they're not registered, that's it. Yeah, we're going to check both the Carolina Migrant Network, and we're going to start with whatever the heck you want to call it, collective Immigration Collectiva. All right, if that's the name that they're calling themselves is Immigration Collectiva, then we'll start with that. So let's just go over and search that name and see if that pops up with anything under the registered 501c3s, because I am tired of these dang people. So let's just go ahead and do it live. And they should be registered federally. And we can search for tax-exempt organizations. Give me a sec. I'll put it up on your screen as soon as I get this other stuff out of the way. So let's get that. And let's go over here and see if they are actually in there. And let's search. Let me get this up. And we'll go ahead and search by the organization name and see if they pop up. And search it. Immigration Collectiva. Let's see if they're in there. Waiting. Wouldn't that be nice? No results. Wouldn't you know it? All right, so let's go back to the other name that they go by. Give me 1 sec while I go over and grab that, because they are just some of the most annoying people. All right, let me go over to their link tree and get the actual name. Let's go with Collectiva. Nope, they go by Comunidad Collectiva is what they have listed. So let's try searching that one real quick and see if they end up popping up that way. Because if they are and they're doxing agents, that's not very good. No, they don't go there. Now, we could search through North Carolina's registered nonprofits and see if they pop up that way, because maybe they're not registered with the federal government yet. I don't think they are a nonprofit, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, no, I don't want to go to that one. That's not it. We're going to see if we can't find these bastards real quick. And if we can't, then we're just going to go ahead and move on. But I just want to check anyways. Because every now and then, oh, there we go. Member directory. Perfect. Keyword, let's go ahead and see if we can find them registered in the great state of North Carolina. No, they are not registered in the state of North Carolina either. It wouldn't appear. So the question is, so here you have North Carolina Center for Nonprofits, Comunidad Collectiva is what they end up going by. We can go back to the name that you guys ended up giving me in the chat, which was Immigration Collectiva. So maybe we'll try that one out. Let's go back over there. See if that doesn't yield any results. No, it does not. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think they are registered. I think they're claiming that they are. Now, it could be that Immigration Collectiva could be a subset. Let me see. Let's just go over here. And see if ChatGPT can possibly find that nonprofit as we go through. No, that wouldn't be it. Nope. So I would bet that the best organization to actually look at would be the, where did we have to go over there? It's not the Carolina, join the movement, donate there. Nope. The Carolina Migrant Network, I think, is the one that we would actually have to look at to see if they're a registered 501c3 as we go down. Let's see. Founders for the Caroliners, the Four Freedoms Fund. Heisen Siemens Foundation. Doesn't really give us any information on them. I wonder if they fall through with them. We're going to check. Okay, so the Carolina Migrant Network is a nonprofit organization. Let me bring this up for you guys. So that would make sense if they're trying to say, so you got a bunch of people in there that don't even know what organization they're working for. So the Carolina Migrant Network, which is the main one that I ended up showing you guys that was trying to, collect funding and all that other crap. They're over there on the link tree. We are the only organization in North Carolina providing free representation for migrants in detention or facing deportation. We also provide holistic wraparound services to both and their families. We have served 128 clients since they started in 2019, created a network of 80 attorneys thus far to represent the bond cases on a pro bono basis. All right. And there is their EIN. Very, very interesting. 850952850. Well, that's good to know. So we have them. And I'm wondering if they didn't start something called, you know what? Let's just call them and see. I'm very curious. Let's go ahead and give them a call. Their phone number is 850952850. Ooh, how is that possible? How is that a thing? 980-309-6812.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Mayra Estefania Arteaga.
Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, my name is Matt. I have your phone number listed under the Carolina Migrant Network, and I was just calling to see if I could get information from you guys to see if you guys run the WhatsApp channel Comunidad Colectiva. Just called the phone number, and then the Comunidad Colectiva said that they were a nonprofit organization, but it doesn't appear that they are, but you guys are, and you guys are associated with them through a link tree. If you guys weren't aware of it, I at least wanted to make you aware of it, and then maybe possibly even get a statement from you. You can give me a call back on the same number. Thank you. So let's see if they end up giving me a call back and see if we can get one on there. But I got a feeling they're not going to end up doing it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on because that is going to end up being a dry hole. But they're not the only ones doing it. I always forget how to pronounce this guy's name right. Ben Berkwam, right? He went out. And it's not just these other organizations that are out there doxing them, like large nonprofits or anything like that. Speak the Truth, I got through there claiming they're a nonprofit immigration collectiva or something like that. Okay, so now I've got multiple people tell me that Immigration Collectiva is claiming to be a nonprofit organization. And if they're not in nonprofit status, well, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Couldn't find them over inside of North Carolina. And the only one that I can find that actually goes into them is through that link channel. So I would think that they are a subset that ended up, a subset of that one organization. But again, we're trying to call them to see if they can come through and give us some information on it. This guy wants to be a snitch fed so bad, cringe. No, I'm tired of people that hiding illegal aliens in our country. I'm not cool with that. Not cool with that at all. Act Blue, if I end up calling them, they're just going to end up kicking me off to the side and being like, yeah, we'll get back to you on that. And they won't tell me shit. But yeah, we'll call Act Blue. I'll call them after I'm offline. 3M Forge says, I know it's off topic, but any thoughts on the multiple Canadian provinces attempting to leave Canada and any possibly join the U.S.? I don't think that's going to happen, man. Cowboy9284 says, try blocking your number. I did, man. How do you think the Mexican Civil War affecting the thing going on here? William Jones, I think that's actually going to be connected. We're going to go over that in a second. Jay the Stray says they're all over Pine Bluff and Fayetteville. Oh yeah. We talked about that. They need to be over there. This report, like I said, comes from, how do you say his dang name again? That's right. Ben Berkwam. He went along riding with ICE CBP over inside of Chicago. And this is what he ended up discovering, that local media outlets are actually the ones that are also doxing and working with left-wing activists. He starts off this video. It's a 3-minute video. I'm probably not going to go through the whole thing. It's a 3-minute video, and it shows the local media organization showing up firsthand. And I'm going to show you the very end of the video on how they're connected.
Out on location with ICE to pick up a violent criminal illegal, and WGN Chicago doxes our location.
And get the street sign first, buddy.
Yeah, just make sure you get out here still staking out. And WGN is out here just taking pictures of where we're hidden in order to get this criminal. Oh, the local News 9 station. WGN. There's 0 protesters here. The media is the ones that are burning us.
Minutes later, other left-wing activist media started showing up.
Yeah, there he goes. Zoom in, get your photo, buddy.
So there you get the idea that they're originally out there, and then out of nowhere, this gentleman ends up showing up, and this is, to me, one of the most shocking parts about it.
Which basically gets its marching orders from the mayor's office.
We have some officers that are on a stakeout today for criminal arrest.
And on cue, one of the illegal alien / Palestinian activist organizers shows up, clearly friends with these assholes.
And then had a cameraman zooming in and literally doxing the location and giving up the location of the officers.
The same guy organizing the protests in downtown Chicago, calling on the activists to attack ICE. These are the enemies within, working with local media to undermine ICE's ability to remove criminal illegal aliens from our community. They need to be prosecuted, along with the traitors like Mayor Johnson. Minutes later, more activists started showing up.
Viva Mexico, except they don't want to viva in Mexico.
All to protect a criminal illegal alien living in their neighborhood. It's no surprise that one of WGN's producers got arrested for attacking ICE.
Well, there you go. Yeah, somebody wants to know WGN Chicago. Yep, that WGN over in Chicago. Looks like, according to Real America's Voice, one of the producers ended up getting arrested before going off. And clearly the media is working alongside the activist, because the activist was the first person that ended up showing up on the scene. And then you had other activists showing up as well. That's my take on it. I can't think of any other way that that guy could have possibly produced himself on the scene. So when we talk about a violent insurrection over here in the United States of America, 1000%. You have news and media organizations that appear to be working side by side with activists. We have actual political 501c3s that appear to be funding organizations or collecting money for organizations that are doxing ICE agents. And I mean, all of this crap, honestly, should ask you, where the hell are the federal investigations going into all of these different people? I'm 1000% okay with, a freedom of speech. What I'm not okay with is when there's hits out by the cartel for upwards of $50,000 to be killing ICE agents. And we have media organizations that are doxing locations of them as they're doing business. When we have organizations that quite literally say and put out on their freaking flyers, and it's no longer like a, hey, maybe this is what they're trying to do. No, I mean, they're very, very clear about it on their flyer, that they end up showing that their whole goal is to freaking dox people's locations. I mean, and again, that phone number attributed here on this flyer and this handout. All right. Blow in short bursts. All right. ICE is nearby. Code red. ICE is detaining someone. They want you to know when ICE is nearby. And they're handing them out to people to follow around, stalk these different ICE agents so that they 1000% cannot do their job. This, in my opinion, is one of those things where you're impeding investigations, where you are literally getting in the way. That's your goal, is to get in the way of the police officers. That's not legal. You can't be doing that crap over here in the United States. And that is 1000% appears to be being funded, at least in part, with with money being sent through Act Blue and going over to these different organizations. Over in North Carolina, you also have other issues that are taking place. You have store owners that are just offering free delivery. Why?
Supermarkets, and we announced today that we're removing all delivery fees for online shopping through our website, compareclt.com. So for all those customers who don't feel comfortable coming to the store in person, they can shop online, and then we will have it delivered through our delivery service to their home.
Oh, so now you no longer have to go into the store, and they're just getting rid of delivery fees because people are not comfortable coming into the store. Weird. I wonder why they're saying people would not be comfortable coming into the store. Well, I guess if you live over in that area and you could use this little simple store, have them send food to your house for free, regardless of if you are legal and or illegal. But I digress. We have stuff also that's going on around the world. We have this stuff going on over inside of Venezuela, where the United States just blew up another boat. Cool. Taking out drug runners. Well, Venezuela is not exactly sending the most amount of drugs in the United States of America. You know who's actually doing that? Mexico. Mexico is the one that's sending in those freaking drugs, like at a very large rate. And this weekend, protesters ended up showing up in mass. Let me go ahead and put this up on the screen just so you guys can get a good overview of this. Protesters end up showing in mass. This would be the equivalent of Mexico's White House, where you had thousands of people that went out there, and this thing was beyond violent. You're about to see videos of the Mexican police forces using like machetes and stuff to get people off the dang walls, like literally trying to stab people's freaking hands. Like as they're going through this, you're going to see Mexican police officers just straight up kicking some of these people in the face. Well, why are they doing this? Well, these people that are out there are allegedly the younger Gen X folks that are fed up with Mexico's government. And they think that Mexico is, how do I want to say this? Basically working side by side with the cartel, and they're saying that's not acceptable. Now, what evidence do they have that ends up supporting and like putting towards that the Mexican president is going with the cartel? Well, really not much. Honestly, you really don't have much that's going over there. Earlier this year, the United States government ended up accusing Mexican banks, like a number of Mexican banks, for money laundering for the cartels. Now, the president of Mexico said that no, Mexico's not laundering money. You have zero evidence that these banks are laundering money. If you do, disclose it to me. I want to know. And the U.S. government said, kiss our butt. We're not giving you that information, and ended up, launching sanctions and stuff against there. Mexican president also can be heard. Let me see if I've got that video of her stating that Mexico does not work for the cartels. She just flat out denies it. But at the same time, she has actually came out and said that going after the cartels is not legal.
La guerra contra el narco no es opción.
Going after the narco is not an option.
No es opción. Primero, porque está fuera del marco de la ley.
She says it's outside the framework of their law.
Todos estos de la derecha que se llenan la boca de las palabras Estado de Derecho y defienden la guerra contra el narco. Pues la guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar.
Oh, well, there it is. Well, going after the narcos isn't exactly legal underneath Mexican law, because it's basically just giving their authorities a license to go after and kill these guys without a trial. I guess they don't have self-defense laws over inside of Mexico. Somebody is getting paid. Gee, I wonder who. Well, a senator over inside of Mexico actually came out and accused the president of being like in bed with the frickin' cartels.
Yes. She's calling Mexican Senator Lili Tellez a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, "It's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention."
Well, why wouldn't she call for intervention? You just told the people over in Mexico that you can't go after the narcos because it's illegal and it gives a license to kill. You flat out said that you're not sending anybody after the narcos. That's freaking nuts. There's no freaking way you can try stating that. No freaking way. And over inside of Mexico, yeah, it's freaking violent. And anybody that says it's not violent is out of their dang mind. We're going to start off with the protest outside of that palace here. And what I want you guys to watch is right up over here. You're going to see a machete poke through that wall in just a second. And Cock Faraday coming out, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Now, it starts off with this machete going to cut through the rope. Makes sense. They're trying to pull the walls down. Well, there you go. So you got machetes now poking through the walls, going after people, trying to freaking cut their dang hands so that they could like gas them or do whatever it is that they're doing. And this thing, like I said, went on for a while. This was a very large crowd over there. Mexico started the weekend off. Let me go ahead and mute that. Mexico started the weekend off putting up like this huge steel wall. Well, all of the rioters ended up going over and ripping those freaking walls down with like those different ropes. They even made their way over inside of the building. Eventually, you ended up getting enough, I guess you could call them like police forces out there to actually go after and start pushing this crowd back and chasing them back. And again, you're going to watch them getting kicked in the head and everything like that here in just a minute. But there's videos of them going through, like ripping those walls down, taking quickie saws, cutting locks and chains and everything like that. And eventually they did end up making it in there and through the wooden door. So it would appear by some of the videos that I've actually have. And the big question is too, like, why wasn't this covered on mainstream media? Now, not all of the protesters were violent here in this video. You can actually see that they went over and actually, how do you want to say, they went over and actually saved the life of a female police officer. And you're going to see why, because things got violent. So they grab and they can be heard saying like basically leave her alone and all of that other stuff. But yeah, I mean, they use these ropes and you guys even saw it in that video to just basically rip these walls down. Now, like that guardrail tactic, I've actually seen that used a couple times throughout those different videos where like the protesters or insurrectionists or whatever you want to call them, like ended up picking those up and running in there and using the guardrails to essentially like bust through those police lines. Here you can see people with freaking sledgehammers, freaking bolt cutters trying to cut through the chains that like held those walls together. And again, I've even seen them out there with quickie saws, taking those chains and freaking like actually slice them off with quickie saws. They ended up busting through and getting all of that done. And actually made their way through the line. So eventually they ended up breaking down and making their way. That's weird. Eventually, they ended up breaking and making their way through the line and busting all those walls down. They did bust in that building. And then you ended up having this scene where you had a bunch of people standing around with like their shields and everything else. And things looked like they were going to be a little calm. And then it just kind of turned into complete and total chaos. Yeah, here's the people going in the building. All right. So again, they eventually made their way in there. But then it kind of erupted into this crap. Where it just, again, it just turned right back to being violent. And then we went from that, okay, from them just ramming and taking people down to eventually the police said, hell with it, we're moving out. And I mean, the police, when they started doing this, you guys are going to see them pushing off the line. There you got the palace in the background, clearing these protesters out. Now, as we're watching all of this go on, some of you, have asked, like, why is it that this could be going down? Well, like I said, the United States has came out and said that, and again, we're taking war against cartels down inside of Venezuela, right? Trump's apparently made up his decision on military action for Venezuela, by the way. That's came out, but they haven't announced exactly what that's going to be, whether or not we're going to go in. But how would this tie into the United States of America? And I think you've got like threefold here. You ended up having, by the way, and this was all because that Mexican politician, one of many who've actually been assassinated this year, ended up getting taken out allegedly by the cartels. And the people are tired of it. And they don't feel like the government is doing enough to protect the people or the politicians over inside the country. And they definitely think the president is in bed with the cartels. And you just heard her explaining that she's not going to be going after the cartels either because she thinks that it's against the freaking law in Mexico. So, how would this actually tie into the United States? Well, again, over 80% of the illegal drugs in the United States end up making their way into the USA from Mexico, according to recent reports. Now, if over 80% of our drugs are coming from Mexico and we're down there knocking things out over inside of Venezuela, going after a small percentage compared to what Mexico offers, what the heck's going on down there? Well, the cartels are very, very much deep embedded. And going in there, we'd have to launch, if like we wanted to go take out the cartels, we would have to launch a full freaking blown, how do you want to say this? We would have to launch a full freaking blown like military operation, like ground invasion to go into Mexico and wipe these dudes out. You're not going to do all of that from the sky. So do I think the United States government wants to invade Mexico? No, because then we're going to have the president who might be in bed with the cartels along with the cartels, all of whom which we are fighting. So how would this benefit the United States of America? Well, the United States of America has been known, right, to fund some insurgencies over time in an attempt to like overthrow governments. Might have just got caught doing that in Venezuela a couple of years ago, right? And now our federal government's actually going after and putting a Green Beret on trial. So when we look at this and you say, why would this benefit the United States of America? Well, it would benefit us because we are getting rid of a sitting president that is not going after the cartels, whose banks are likely laundering money for the cartels. So providing like a safe space, kind of like Afghanistan was for terrorism. So by the United States getting behind some of this stuff and pushing in for different information operations, whatever it is that led stuff like this to take place, yeah, that would greatly benefit the USA. What's the other benefit that our government ends up getting out of this? Well, the Trump administration could use this information to say, look at all of this violence down in Mexico. These are not the people that we want pouring across our borders. We don't want these people over here inside of the United States. We don't need these illegals. Now, the crazy part about this is these are Mexicans that are fighting for Mexican citizens against a government that they feel is corrupt. But you could easily take snippets like that and throw it out there on the media. Now, these events didn't make legacy media outlets as far as I know. I don't remember seeing wide reports of all this crap taking place this weekend. A lot of this ended up making its way over on social media, but it doesn't mean that the United States government isn't backing certain groups over there, providing different funding to put and organize different events like this in order to get rid of that sitting Mexican president and or to provide some sort of social pressure to have her act on the cartels, which would be in the U.S. best interest. The other thing it does is it ends up taking away a lot of attention from different things that are happening. Now, all of this is happening at the same time that you have an uprising that's actually taking place over inside of Iran. For those of you guys that don't know, I reported on it, what was it, like Thursday or Friday, that you have the Iranian military that is essentially defecting, and we have numerous military officers from the Iranian military that have came out and said that they have lots of people, soldiers that they have gathered that are going to be, standing up against the Iranian regime. They're saying that Khamenei is a pile of garbage and that they don't support him and that they basically, want to bring back their traditional way all the way. I think it was like 1978 is when they had like the reform that ended up bringing an Ayatollah and all that other crap. So they want to get rid of that way of life over inside of Iran. And I don't think it's a coincidence that all of that is launching at the same time. So we have this taking place in Mexico. We have the Iran situation taking place. And it's not just over here in Mexico where we have that situation taking place either. We also have more calls over inside of Venezuela. All right. So we have more calls over inside of Venezuela for freedom.
Queridos venezolanos, el rugido de esta tierra que exige libertad crece y resuena dentro y fuera del país. 30 millones nos rebelamos ante un régimen criminal que va de salida. Un régimen que tiene como...
So I could sit here and show you that this is the current opposition leader that is supposed to be rising up against Maduro that ended up coming out with a video calling for the people. And it's very, very, I think they used CapCut actually on it, but it's pretty decent edited with a very decent message that ended up making its way across the internet. So all within a couple of days of each other, you had Venezuela opposition coming out calling to basically overthrow Maduro. You had Mexican opposition coming out trying to overthrow the Mexican president. And you have an Iranian opposition coming out to overthrow the leadership over inside of Iran. Coincidence? I don't know, because these are all three countries that are huge pain in the butt for the United States of America. And we've been talking about Iran for a while, particularly after the 12-day war, and how I felt like there is going to be an uprising. I predicted it's going to take place before September or right around September. And if that doesn't take place, then yeah, I think the U.S. might actually go back in there and bomb. But it looks like that insurrection, or however you want to call it, the overthrow of the government inside of Iran is actually taking a little bit longer. So all of these things actually benefit the United States of America. And somebody says, smells like a coincidence. And then all of a sudden we see the comments now, people coming out and John saying smells like the CIA. Yeah, obviously we have other organizations that are taking place. And let's not forget, just a couple of weeks ago, right before this video came out, just a couple of weeks ago, U.S. actually authorized basically black ops to take place over inside of Venezuela. So imagine that. So if we start seeing, and it was funny because I had hypothesized that you would end up seeing political assassinations over inside of Venezuela that might fuel stuff like what we're currently seeing in Mexico. Why? Because that just might be the U.S.'s MO sometimes to get behind and support some of that stuff, almost like false flag attacks, right? In order to push opposition. But we end up seeing that same thing over inside of Mexico. So do I think the U.S. could be behind some of this? Yeah. But I understand that that's tinfoil hat. All of this could be a major coincidence, but I don't really think it is. Dylan McClung says, so this is the place people here want to wave their Mexican flags around showing their proud heritage. Looks like a great place to be proud of. Dude, if you think that the videos that I saw were bad for a great place to be proud of, let's go ahead and check this out. Here's a video of them, I believe, dragging off a police officer over in Mexico and kicking the crap out of him. So there you go. First portion of the video, you can actually see them dragging down a freaking police officer and then the police coming over and kicking the freaking dude like square in the face. It's freaking nuts that stuff was going on. I mean, all of this ended up happening in a matter of hours. You ended up having them, pushing back and setting up. Yeah, there you go. Them throwing stuff over at the police. They ended up pushing them back like over through a couple blocks. Fox McCloud says Cuba is next. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Here's the problem. Yeah, Linda Liu says a coup. I would agree with that. And Adam says, on top of all, we got Trump blowing a bill allegedly. LMAO. What happened on this world? Cheers, Matt. Here's what happened to the world. And here's my biggest problem if the United States government is behind all of this. We do not have a good track record when it comes with supporting different organizations or groups, either in the Middle East or, God forbid, we try that stuff over here inside the Western Hemisphere. If we're against cartels and we know where they're at, which likely we do, why not just drop bombs and freaking kill those people? Like I'm over it at this point. Start actually sending a message that we're not going to deal with it. You could severely degrade the cartel and possibly get the Mexican president on board, or maybe that would be part of it. That there's an opposition leader that's going to take the point of the president of Mexico, and then the U.S. will come over and drop bombs to help degrade them, and then you end up sending in the Mexican, police and military in order to freaking deal with the cartels over there. Who knows? Kind of like what's in the works. But what I do know is that in the past, us funding the Taliban never really worked out that great. And seeing what's taking place over inside the world, in my opinion, these different insurrections, if you will, or coups that are taking place in these countries, a little bit cause for concern because it's all happening over here inside of the Western Hemisphere. And there's definitely U.S. interests that are aligned across the board for why we would be doing these things. So That's my thought process on all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not yet, please, for the love of God, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we got a hell of a lot more content coming up for you guys today and in the future. Peace, love, happiness, and God bless, ladies and gentlemen. I am out of here.